Mei is super strong. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome, oh dear, to the channel. So what we're going to do in this video is discuss the idea of Mei and Reaper being incredibly powerful when the new barrier meta hits Overwatch Live servers. Now, I'm touting Mei as the meta destroyer, and I'm pretty sure we've been sleeping on her for a very long time. Or have we? You see, the thing with Mei is she's always been very disruptive. She's been very strong against tanks. When we got role queue, Mei became almost a DPS tank pick. So we kind of thought that maybe we would see triple tank, which of course was the GOAT's meta before role queue came into effect, sort of come back as GOAT's 2.0 or GOAT's Light, in which Mei fills the slot of a tank. Now remember, Mei is a DPS hero, but Mei is really survivable. When you look at Mei's abilities, or you just straight up look at Mei as a hero, she's got 250 hit points. That's pretty good for a DPS hero. She's also got a ton of survivability, and she can heal herself, and she can become invulnerable, and she's got a fantastic ultimate, and she's got the ability to drop a wall just like that. And poor Batiste gets caught, although really nice immortality field off Batiste there, but it's not really going to help him. He's going to get frozen, he's going to die. And again, we're going to see wall usage here. Absolutely ridiculous. Yes, this is a very good positional place to use the wall, but the fact is, Mei is a super strong hero. Now, what is the point of this video? Why are we talking about Mei? The meta's not even out yet. The patch isn't out yet. Hopefully it comes out fairly soon. Why are we saying Mei is super strong? Well, we need to go back. We need to go way back to before role queue. We need to go back to when the devs were balancing the... Maybe if I could talk. Balancing, ladies and gentlemen, the game in favor of trying to stop or dissuade heroes and players from picking GOATs, which meant heavy tank comps. So what did they do? Well, they heavily buffed Reaper's damage in the sense of his, well, maybe not his damage, but his survivability, I guess, which does add to his damage, with his self-heal. There was also some other minor buffs which came into Reaper, which basically made him better at dealing with heroes, but we'll get into Reaper in a moment. Mei was buffed. Now, Mei has the ability to freeze through multiple targets. This, guys, is actually massive. It is so powerful, it's crazy. Now, the reason this was put into the game was to directly try and combat GOATs. It was like, hey, the enemy team have got a tank-heavy comp. Well, somebody just pick Mei. Mei can run in, freeze all the tanks. It doesn't matter like how much HP the tanks have got, how much armor they've got. They're going to get destroyed because they're frozen. And that was kind of what the devs appeared to be going for. The problem is now we're in a world where we've got heavy barrier nerfs, or at least on the PTR, heavy barrier nerfs, and this will go live. I mean, no doubt of that, to the primary barrier tanks, with the exception of Winston, who did get a barrier buff, although Winston, you wouldn't typically see, you wouldn't, I guess, class Mei as a counter to Winston, although Mei obviously is still pretty good against Winston if she gets him into close range melee combat, or melee range combat, I guess. And also, there's one thing we did forget about Mei, and that's her ability to right click or alternate fire. It's essentially McCree level damage with no damage fall off. Now, she fires slower than McCree. McCree does put out more effective DPS, obviously, but there's always that sting in the tail from Mei. Anyway, let's go back to the ability to freeze multiple targets and why this is so strong. So with the barrier nerfs, this means the tanks have got less barriers to slap in the face of Mei to stop Mei being an annoyance, to stop Mei from freezing them, and all of that good stuff. The thing is, though, Mei, she doesn't care about what's happened to the tanks, in which the tank survival ability or capability, as by the way, that's beautiful on Tracer, and I think I get her again in a moment. It's bad times for that Tracer, but you can see the power of the right click. Obviously, you have to aim it, but still, it's very powerful. Yeah, so the barriers have been nerfed. The armor has been buffed, so now instead of it reducing 3 damage, it reduces by 5, which is a pretty big armor buff. The thing is, if you're frozen by Mei, she don't care about your armor. There you go, sorry, Tracer. She don't care about your armor. She's going to freeze you, and then the rest of the team are going to pile into you and just delete you from the game. This is a worry, and this is because Mei was buffed to counter a comp which is not even in the game anymore. And this is where things can get quite funky, because the question is, why are the devs allowing this to remain in the game? Now, I was very lucky to play the Overwatch 2 PvE demo at BlizzCon. And you can see here the power of the multi-freeze. Look at this, or the freeze through targets. Like, I literally just walked through and froze the Orisa and the Roadhog there. Just ridiculous. Now, as I was saying, I played the Overwatch 2 PvE demo, and that heavily heavily relied on Mei's ability to freeze multiple targets. So this is a little bit of conspiracy theorist coming in here, but maybe the Mei change was made not for goats, but was made for Overwatch 2. Now, I know Overwatch 2 is a very long way away, but the devs obviously know what they're working on. They know what they need in the game. Now, the way of getting out of this, or I guess a counter-argument to that, would be, well, Mei's multiple freeze or freeze through targets on a primary fire, just make it a PvE only thing, and then, hey, PvP, whatever, it's a different game. We know it's a different game. Obviously, there's going to be the leveling system, the talent system in the PvE, which is just not going to be in the PvP. Anyway, why do I think Mei will be really strong? You know how we had double barrier? It was Orisa, it was Sigma. Well, Orisa and Sigma's barriers have been nerfed, but how can you get double barrier again? Well, Mei's got a wall, and that's a very strong barrier. In fact, we could get a triple barrier meta. Now, it sounds crazy on paper, simply because if we go for Reinhardt and Orisa, which is used a lot on the PTR, and the pros have been using Reinhardt Orisa a hell of a lot on the PTR with their pro EU scrims specifically, Mei is horrific because she's got this additional barrier, she's mega tanky, she's super survivable, she's got tons of crowd control, and she's got an amazing ultimate. And when you throw that into the mix, you're straight up saying like, hey guys, yeah, try and kill us because we're super unkillable. And one of the worries with Overwatch balance is the metas have always gravitated towards high survivability. Look at goats, why was that a thing? Look at double barrier, double shields, why was that a thing? Simply because it was very survivable. Sigma and Orisa worked very well together, very hard to kill. Why was goats a thing? Very hard to kill. Moira, super powerful because she keeps them alive. Massive AoE healing. These are things which worry me when I look at the balance of the game. The thing is, though, we've just got to play what the devs give us, and I reckon that right now, Mei is going to be incredibly powerful. When I look at the DPS heroes, Mei and Reaper, I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on them. Mei has been a hero I think people have been sleeping on for a hell of a long time. She is incredible. Like, she's actually incredible. And if we see Ryan and Orisa become a thing, Mei's just going to destroy that. Against it, she's going to be super strong. With it, she's going to be super strong. And again, I start worrying that we go into a world of straight up mirror matchups where, oh, the enemy team have a Mei, we need to take a Mei. Now, a lot of this could be doomsday stuff like, oh my god, Sty, why are you telling me, oh, Mei, she's going to come into the game and everyone's going to be playing Mei? Maybe people don't. I just want you guys to be aware that I think because of the legacy buffs, let's call them, before the roll queue system to Mei, she is a very, very powerful hero because her kit is stupidly unique. And there was actually a post on the Overwatch competitive subreddit where I forget the name of the player. If I was a good YouTuber, I'd actually find this information and show you on the screen. But just take my word for it, guys. And you know by playing against Mei that this is true. Mei's hitbox is pretty small for a hero with her HP and her survivability. That all adds to just the fact she's very hard to kill, again, which adds back to the whole thing of, well, Mei's very survivable. Even if we see a meta along the lines of Orisa Hog, you still, it's nice to take the Mei in that because Mei is still super survivable. Mei can still use her wall to mess up other heroes. And one last thing I want to say about Mei, because I think this is crucial. When you look at Orisa's buff, and Orisa has got the Fortify buff, well, that's pretty good, obviously. She'll be immune to freeze effects when she's got that up, and that's great. The thing is, though, I think her wall, Mei's wall that is going to be really good at dealing with Orisa because, yeah, Orisa might be able to become immune to crowd control effects, but you can't walk away if you put a wall behind her. You can literally cut her off and destroy her. Mei's always been that way. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on Mei. She's going to be an incredible hero. Anyway, let's move on to Reaper. Now, Reaper, he's another meta destroyer in a sense. Now, I'm kind of worried that we might go into Mei Reaper being very, very good as DPS. Mei kind of covers the ranged DPS, almost like Hanzo style, like I'm firing away, doing whatever I'm doing. Maybe I get a lucky headshot. Reaper is going to be an absolute beast at dealing with tanks close range. Now, tanks have got more armor, so on their own, they're kind of more survivable when their barriers are destroyed. The thing is, the barriers are nerfed so heavily that Reaper can really wreck through the barriers, especially Reinhardt at close range. I mean, Reinhardt has always been weak against Reaper. Roadhog as well is going to suffer against Reaper. They're all going to suffer against Reaper, basically. Reaper can push, he can destroy the barrier, and then he can start working on the hero and just ripping through them. Even though you've got more armor now, because armor's more effective, and obviously Orisa has straight up got 50 more armor anyway, so she's got tons of armor now. Reaper is going to be able to just pump damage into them. He still has the same amount of self-heal, of lifesteal, that he gets from his damage. This all in turn means Reaper is just crazy powerful when he's in there brawling with the enemy tanks. Now, Orisa is being seen as a bit of a brawler tank now, going away more from her anchor tank style. She's got self-survivability when her barrier is not involved, so her barrier has been destroyed or she maybe deploys it somewhere else. She can get involved in the brawl, she's using Hulk, she's firing away. Reaper is a great counter to this. Now, there is another hero in all of this, and that is Doomfist, and Doomfist is still very strong. Doomfist has got two very specific nerfs against him, which are a direct result of buffs to other tank heroes. That is, Orisa's Fortify has a shorter cooldown, and Reinhardt is less affected by his punch. Now, this is about time for Reinhardt, I'm not going to lie, but Doomfist, when he tries to punch Reinhardt, he's not going to move him as far, so it's difficult to punch him into a wall, it's difficult to knock him out of position. So we look at these DPS heroes, and it's all very speculative at the moment, but trying to put together what we know about Mei, what we know about Reaper specifically, and what's happened in the past with buffs and nerfs to heroes and the way the game has changed. Blizzard have not reverted roll Q nerfs, buffs, let me just repeat that again. They have not reverted previous roll buffs before roll Q, so GOATs buffs to heroes that were designed to counter tank comms. And now we've got roll Q, and now we've got heavy barrier nerfs. So this means the tanks are not as effective as they were before. And this means that Mei and Reaper, who were buffed to deal with tanks when they were just straight up stronger, are still super strong. It's a really interesting thought, isn't it, guys? Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I want to know what heroes you think are super OP, or what heroes you think are going to become meta. All right, guys, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. And remember, you can follow me on Twitter, which is @Stylosa. It's also @Stylosa on Instagram. Catch you on the next one.